Namaste. This is a really short 20-minute yin practice. Yin to release all that connective tissue, the fascia lines of the body, and to serve a deep purpose of restoration. Time to just slow it down. So what you might need is a bolster, a blanket, could come in handy, and maybe 2 blocks or some thick books. So we're going to start with the blocks. You can also use a bolster if you don't have blocks for this one. What we want to do is come into our supported bridge pose. So with your blocks, you just want to come onto your back, really press into the feet as if you're coming into a normal bridge, placing the 2 blocks into the nice firm part of the low back and the little bone there. And then we're just going to rest in. This is right away your chance just to check in, notice how you're feeling. And we're going to slowly deepen the experience of this practice in just a moment. But first of all, notice the quality of breath and breathing. You soften and close down the eyes. If it feels good, you might lengthen the legs out long ways, away from the hips. If it's still feeling nice, you might now reach the arms out and behind the head and neck. Coming into the complete posture. Just staying with these deep flowing breaths. Inhales that expand and open up into the abdomen, the diaphragm completely opening. Opening the lungs, expanding the quality of breath. And the exhales that are soft, slow, and released with this sense of gentleness. Going to take one more breath here. And you're just bending the knees first and returning the feet to find the floor just beyond the hips. When you're ready, you might gently bring the arms back. And very lightly pressing into the hands, just remove one of the blocks. Just lower down, slightly lower. And then when you're ready, the second block. And just gently knocking the knees towards center. Righto. We're just going to slowly come to our side. We're going to set up for our second posture. So a nice lying half moon. So with this one, we want a bolster, ideally, or some thick cushions. I'm going to get my right thigh and my right hip right up alongside the bolster. I'm going to stretch my right arm up and over the bolster as long as I can reach. And then, most importantly, the left arm comes up and it reaches way overhead. And I land here in this nice expression, maybe lengthening out the top leg, the left leg. And I can rest my head either on my arm, or if I have my blocks handy, I can take the block right under the cheek and rest the side of the face onto the block. So there are your options. And just setting up slowly, take your time, find your way into the pose, and connect in with that breath. Notice the ease of the breath already after just a couple of minutes. The bolster shouldn't be necessarily just pressing into the chest, but more into the low belly, lower part of the abdomen and oblique area. But it causes a nice opening entirely through the upper side of the torso, left upper back and shoulder. And be here for about 6 more breaths. And just give yourself permission to slow down in breath, slow down in the thought patterns, mood. Give yourself permission to slow down, to soften. Come into the crocodile pose, a little bit of a crocodilian, and come all the way onto our belly. I'm just going to cross the forearms to make a pillow for the forehead. So there's a bit of compression in the low belly. It's reversing the back bend we did now into a bit of a back flexion. Resting the forehead should allow that signaling to the mind that we can activate our parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest, calm, recovery, restore, rejuvenate. You might just balance the idea, the feeling, or the intention around your mind to meet you where you would like to be. To start drawing in that conscious call to soften and allow healing in your body. Alright, we want to set up for the opposite side now. So you might be just turning now to your left hip. Again, you want to get your hip and left thigh right up flush against that bolster. And then stretch out the left side. Take a moment or a few breaths. And it's the right arm on inhale, extending to the ceiling. On the exhale, taking it way overhead. Again, you might have a block there for the head. You might extend out your right leg, top leg. Otherwise, make any adjustments you need. It doesn't seem to be in the right spot. You can feel that it's creating a long stretching through now the top side, the right side of your torso, upper back, shoulder, even the low belly, the low back. Allow your eyes to be soft or closed, your face to soften with each breath out. With each breath out, we invite surrender. Just taking one or two more breaths here. When you're ready, right arm comes up and over. Gently squeeze out. This time we're just going to come to neutral seated pose for a moment. Sitting cross-legged pose. Just take a few deep breaths to feel the response. You may even lie down if you need to. Feeling aware of the effects of the practice. From here we're coming into supported swan pose. So what we're going to do is have our bolster handy. We're going to step our right leg over the front, bring the bolster between the legs, and then we can set up for like a pigeon or swan leg. So slowly coming onto the outer shin, outer knee, and with this one we want to make sure the knee does touch down. We don't want to be up here where the knee's hovering off the ground. We want that knee firmly down, so you might need to adjust yourself forward into your bolster. And from there, just taking a moment, sitting up tall, a little bit of engagement into the legs just to feel that everything's straight, and we come on down. The ground might be a long way down, or maybe it's very accessible for the head, or you might just take a block to rest the head down. And we soften into this beautiful hip opener. It's a great pose to send some love into the low back. Coming back to connecting to your breath, to your intention, to your healing. be here for another few breaths, sorry. When you're ready, just going to press into the elbows. I'm going to pick up that left leg and bring it to the front of the mat. Give both the legs a little squeeze. And when you're ready, you can just step the right leg around, switch sides. Take your time and don't force. Extending out, squaring up the hips, and coming forward enough over the bolster so the knee touches down. Make adjustments that you need. A little bit of activation through the legs before coming forward for the opposite side. When you're ready, kissing the forehead to the bolster or the floor, to the block of the floor. Just resting in. Give yourself permission to let go. Coming towards the end of our practice. Three more breaths. And let yourself soften and let go. Using the hands and bringing both legs to the front of the bolster, the hips behind the bolster. I want to set up for just Shavasana for 1 minute. I encourage you to take much longer than a minute if you have the time. So if you can, settle down into your Shavasana shape. Palms facing up, body soft, knees supported by bolster. And right away, just allow yourself to have an open, expanding awareness of all of this, the entirety of this moment. If you have the time, I encourage you to stay a little longer. Otherwise, thank you for practicing. Namaste.